The 1922 German film Nosferatu, A Symphony of Horror, is basically an unauthorized knockoff of Bram Stoker's 1897 novel Dracula. The filmmakers couldn't get permission from the late Stoker estate to adapt the book, so they made certain changes. Instead of Count Dracula, the main villain is Count Orlok. Copyright drama aside, stories of undead being feedings of the living have been around a lot longer than Stoker's novel. The modern idea of vampires like evolved from old European folk beliefs. Before people understood how disease spread, vampirism may have been a way to explain deaths from the plague. Tuberculosis is another ancient malady that ravaged communities. Different regions had different ways of stopping vampires. In Romania, one remedy was to cut out the heart of a suspected vampire and burn it to ashes. Some have speculated Stoker's Dracula was based on Vlad the Impaler, aka Vlad III Dracula, a 15th century ruler of Wallachia in Romania. In Stoker's research notes for Dracula, he recorded that Dracula means devil on the Wallachian language. This story, the true story of The Exorcist, begins in the late 1940s in suburban Washington, D.C., with a family named Hunkler. Their 13-year-old boy believed to be named Ronald. As Ronald, though among other names, was despondent over the loss of his beloved Aunt Harriet, a spiritualist who taught him many things including how to use a Ouija board. In early January 1949, shortly after Harriet's death, Ronald began to experience strange things. He heard scratching sounds coming from the floors and walls of his room. Water dripped inexplicably from pipes and walls. The most troubling thing was that his mattress would suddenly move. Disturbed, Ronald's family sought the help of every expert they know. The Hunkelers consulted doctors, psychiatrists, and the local Lutheran minister, but they were no help. The minister suggested that the family seek the assistance of the Jesuits. Father E. Albert Hughes, the local Catholic priest, asked his superior permission to perform an exorcism on the boy in late February of 1949. However, Hodges stopped the rite when Ronald broke off a piece of spring from the mattress that had been strapped down to and lashed the priest across his shoulder. A few days later, red scratches appeared on the boy. One of the scratches formed the word Lois, which indicated to Ronald's mother that the family needed to go to St. Louis, where the Hunkelers had relatives, in order to find a way to save their son. A cousin of the family was attending St. Louis University at the time of Ronald's struggles. She put the Hunkelers in touch with Father Walter H. Halloran and Reverend William Bowdern. After consulting with the university presidents, the two Jesuits agreed to perform an exorcism on young Ronald with the help of several assistants. The men gathered at the residence on Roanoke Drive in early March of 1949. There, the exorcist witnessed scratching on the boy's body and the mattress moving violently. These were the same type of things that had happened in Maryland when the first exorcism failed. Amid these bizarre happenings, Bowdern and Halloran, according to the reports, noticed a pattern in Ronald's behavior. He was calm and normal during the day, but at night after settling in for bed, he would exhibit strange behavior, including screaming and wild outbursts. Ronald would also enter a trance-like state and start making sounds in a guttural voice. The priest supposedly also saw mysteriously flying object in the boy's presence and noted that he would react violently when he saw any sacred object presented by the attending Jesuits. At the point during this weeks-long ordeal, Bowdern reportedly saw an X appear in scratches on Ronald's chest, which the priest believed signified the number 10. In another incident, a pitchfork-shaped pattern of red lines moved from the boy's thigh and snaked down toward his ankle. This type of things happened every night for more than a month, and everyone witnessing the events believed that Ronald was possessed by 10 demons. Two priests never gave up as they continued to exorcism night after night. On the evening of March 20, the exorcism reached an unhealthy new level. Ronald urinated all over his bed and began shouting and cursing at the priest. Now, Ronald's parents had enough. They took him to Election Brothers Hospital in St. Louis for more serious treatment. Finally, on April 18, a miracle occurred in Ronald's room at Election Brothers. It was the Monday after Esther and Ronald awoke with seizure. He yelled at the priest saying that Satan would always be with him. The priest laid holy relics, crucifixes, medals, and rosary on the boy. At 10:45 p.m. that evening, the attending priest called on Saint Michael to expel Satan from Ronald's body. They shouted at Satan, saying that Saint Michael would battle him for Ronald's soul. 7 minutes later, Ronald came out of his trance and simply said, "He's gone." The boy recounted how he had a vision that Saint Michael vanquished Satan on a great battlefield. There were no more documented instances of strange occurrences and behavior after that, and Ronald went on to live a completely normal life from that moment forward. No one would have ever known about the exorcism of Roland Doe, nor would it have become the true story of the exorcist, if not for an article in the Washington Post which reported in late 1949, albeit with few details, the priest had ended perform an exorcism. The case would then make headlines again for more than 2 decades. In 1971, an author by the name of William Peter Blatty penned the best-selling novel The Exorcist based on the unofficial diaries kept by Halloran and Bowdern. The book stayed on the bestseller list for 52 weeks, and it spawned a hit movie in 1973. The movie took many liberties with its source material, turning the teenager into a 12-year-old girl named Regan, and not a boy named Ronald. The movie's story also takes place completely in Washington and Georgetown area, which is somewhat true to life since Ronald was hospitalized for a week in Georgetown in late February of 1949. Although the scratches, shouting, and spitting red lines on the skin and cursing in the movie mimic what Ronald had experienced, the voice had never turned 360 degrees like Regan's did in the film. Similarly, Ronald never vomited green matter during his many tantrums, nor did he use a bloody crucifix to masturbate. Following the exorcism of Roland Doe, his family moved back to the East Coast. Sources say that Ronald found a wife and started a family. He named his first son Michael after the saint believed to have saved his soul. If Roland is still alive today, he will be in his early 80s. Bowdern, on the other hand, died in 1983 after serving the Catholic Church for decades. Halloran lived until 2005. When he died of cancer, he was the last surviving member of the main team that had performed the exorcism of Roland Doe. The room in Election Brothers Hospital was boarded up and sealed following the exorcism. The entire facility was torn down in 1978. The house where the family lived in Maryland is now an empty lot after it was abandoned in 1960. Experts believe the real name of Roland Doe to be Ronald Hunkler, although only one person reportedly knows for sure. In 1985, a white American graduate student named Wade Davis published a book with an extremely long title, The Serpent and the Rainbow, a Harvard scientist's astonishing journey into the secret societies of Asian voodoo, zombies, and magic. In it, Davis claimed he discovered the secret Asian societies use tricktoxin, a toxin found in pufferfish, to trick people into thinking they died and come back to life as zombies from Haitian folklore. Many other scientists denounced Davis' claim as bunk, including introduction expert C.Y. Cow, who called it carefully planned, premeditated case of scientific fraud. The story grabbed the attention of horror filmmaker Wes Craven, who adapted the book into the 1988 film The Serpent and the Rainbow, starring Bill Pullman as a Harvard researcher based on Davis. Writing in 1989 issue of Latin American Anthropology Review, anthropologist Robert Lawless seemed to consider this fitting, since the book already read like the first draft for a Hollywood movie with Davis himself as an Indiana Jones-type hero.